You are watching SHOUTcraft, high-definition eSports broadcasting for Starcraft 2. Please welcome tonight's commentators, the Emperor and TotalBiscuit.
Alright, we have Zerem in the green trunks playing Zerg, and we're back on Steps of War with Zieth playing Terran. This should prove interesting. He's in the the light blue trunks this evening.
I wonder how the map's going to affect the early game build strategy. We saw a rather odd choice, at least in my opinion, there with the scrap area, but hopefully we'll see something a little bit more traditional as we start off here.
This is a little more streamlined. I mean, you can get through the middle very quickly. It's pretty obvious where the player's going to start, bottom left, upper right, so it's not like you have to scout out a great deal other than to know what your opponent is actually up to. Location isn't a consideration.
Absolutely. Now, this is a map that does not favor the Overlord scouting. You can see the massive distance there.
Shout out to Godlike. There you go. I don't know. That must be his woman or his man toy. I'm not sure which, but he continues to ask for that shout out. So there you have it.
Indeed.
Got to keep the players happy.
Let's start a build over there with the Terrans. As you can see there, you've got your 8 builders, and then your 9th going there to start building the choke point down there. He'll open up with the supply depot as per usual, and there he starts. He'll dump his barracks in the middle, I would think, and then his supply at the other side to complete the choke.
Bottom left-hand corner. Let's see, 2 extractors going up here for Zerem, and then he stops building them again. Again, starting construction, and then stops halfway through.
One has to wonder why you would do that.
Well, I understand about being indecisive. I get that. That happens. He's got a ton of drones. I wonder if there's some kind of exploit or bug or something in the game that I'm not understanding. Highlanders here is nodding to the left here. Is that it's to produce 2 extra drones? Zerem, you cheating...
That makes sense. I suppose the supply disappears when he builds, one would assume. So he's building those 2 refineries out there. And one assumes that when he goes to build, a supply disappears because that drone technically doesn't exist anymore.
Highlander's saying it's a StarCraft 1 trick. Actually, there is Mayhem and both of you saying the exact same thing. I'll be honest with you, I did not play Zerg a great deal in StarCraft 1. I was mainly a Protoss player, and God forbid on the occasion I played Terran. I was a good Protoss player, though. I thought that would have been something that they would have actually, fixed. It seems like an exploit to me, isn't it?
I would think so, to be honest, but hey, if it's still in the beta, then there you go. So you see Zieth there has got the scout out. Has he learned anything from that whatsoever? Absolutely not. All he knows is there's a spawning pool going up, which is entirely predictable on this map, so I can't see him coming up with any early response to that. Early Marines, of course, to prevent any potential Zergling rush.
There's the depot going up. Still just 1 barracks, checking out bases. Command center, taking a look. Let's take a look at the units real quick to see what the difference is. Actually, pretty even across the board. 1 Marine. The only difference as far as fighting forces, 16 SCVs, 17 drones, 2 Overlords. So, again, they're really going not much in either case. Got to be careful that Overlord, like you had mentioned earlier. You're really taking a risk of putting it out that far out. Now, granted, there's something to be said about early scouting so you know what your opponent is doing, but here he goes. Running right over there with 2 Marines, firing now on Zerem's Overlord in the upper right-hand corner, just outside of their barracks, and he may lose that down to 88 and falling, down to 70, 60, 50. He should be flying straight into the left, not out and over the... Okay, that was dumb.
Yeah, they've got the bead, and down he goes. And, of course, he's losing his supply there, so that may cause a bit of a cock block for him. That would be very unfortunate in the early building there, trying to get the advantage over the Terran. You can see Tech Lab's gone up there, so early Reapers, early Marauders, perhaps Marauders, great counter, as you're well aware, to the menace of Roaches.
Now, Zerem doing something that we did not see in the first game that you and Mayhem played is actually going with a very early expansion, go with that hatchery. Now, what Mayhem was doing in the previous game, he was building a hatchery, an extra hatchery, actually in his base. And that's fine, but my argument was, if you're going to go ahead and build one, since it's not too far away to your auxiliary mineral mine, go put it out there. At least you can have an auxiliary base. That's to be the first thing they attack, I would assume. Most cases do. Zerglings are now deployed. There's 6 now running from the bottom left to the upper right. Nope, now they're going to stop at the foot of his base. Let's check in over here on Zieth. He's got a 2nd barracks not going up. Like you'd pointed out, he's got it completely blocked off. He's got a tech lab now onto the 1 barracks. To the right, he's got a command center going up, so he's going to lift that one off, float that one down. My guess would be to there.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds about right, to be honest. We've got you see the early Marauders going up there as a potential counter to Roaches, but of course he has no idea whether or not that's going to happen. And we do have a Roach Warren up, so it's a reasonable counter right there. But right now, the number of Zerglings he's got available there, he would be able to at least go and do some early damage to that expansion. You can see the bunker going up there, and really those Zerglings could go in. You see the Zergling going in right there, being taken out very, very early on by the Marauder. Very little damage taken there, and moving forward to counter there. It's very unfortunate they decided to scout there. Instead of going in full force, he'd have been able to do some damage.
Now, this is interesting. Zieth did not actually go very far. He just picked it up, and he dropped it at the expansion right below his base. Now, I would have thought that he would have put it maybe in the upper left-hand corner or somewhere where it's more difficult to get to, where he probably might not have been scouted initially, but that is not the case.
One could also argue that his attempt to consolidate his defense there, as opposed to attempting to defend two fronts. You know, a couple of Mutalisks flying over the wrong area at the wrong time could cause a whole world of hurt for a Terran player that's spread his defense too thin.
He's got a bunker in there with 2 Marauders. He's got another one deploying. He's got 3 with 4 Marines. Checking down, let's check at Zerg, who's got his force now amassing, and he does have the Roaches. And that's pretty much the go-to medium or early to mid-game strategy now for the Zerg, is the Roaches. 2 more deploying. He's now beefed himself up to a lair. Let's take a look to see if there's anything else producing there. He's got more drones. He's got more Roaches. And he's now... Okay, there he has his Queen now down as auxiliary. He's going to go ahead and try and pop out some more larvae.
Yeah, we'll see here, Zieth going heavy M&M here. We've got double barracks, double reactors, spamming Marines as fast as he possibly can. Got the 2 Marauders building there as well. Early M&M strategy will work relatively well against Zerglings and Roaches.
Looks like a flank maneuver now, or at least Zerm's going to come up behind. No, he's checking out to see if they'd actually put up a gold mine there. Nothing there. He is going to leave 1 Zergling there as a scout, which makes sense. That way he's notified immediately if his opponent starts to expand there.
We're moving in on the initial reckoning right there, and good place for the Marauders in the bunkers there. Heavy targeting, lots of damage. 2 Roaches taken down, 3rd one slowed down, eliminated right there, and indecisive for the Zerg.
Obviously, I don't know if it was an actual assault or if it was a scout in force. And my guess is the bunker hadn't been there. If he's actually to blow through, he probably would have continued the attack. Unfortunately, right now, looking at it from this standpoint, Zieth is in command of this game. He's got 18 Marines, 7 Marauders, and that far outweighs what his opponent's got. Zerm only fielding 9 Zerglings. He's got 8 Roaches. Now, he does have more in production, but I don't think it's going to make that big a difference. He's going to need a lot more than that, and we're going to have a confrontation right here in the center. Both battle lines pop up. Looks like the Roach is going to lead the charge. Actually get a couple shots, and Marines begin to backtrack. Now they're going to turn around, fight, standing, motion, back and forth, back and forth. 2 Marauders, 2 Roaches, a couple Marines die, and the Terrans are going to go ahead and press the advantage. They're going to go ahead and move in, attack the hatchery. There's a Nidus network going up. They're not going to let it sit. No, they're not. Nope, they're going to ignore it. Now they're going to kill it. A creep tumor now on the ground. They're going to focus their attention on the hatchery. He's not going to be able to save it.
Yeah, that was very bad for the Zerg player, to be quite honest there. Roach is attempting to chase there, but he knows he can't go in there. That's a massed force there from the Terrans. Terran's far away. He's going in there, and oh, God, it's messy. Terrible, terrible damage there for the Zerg.
Roach is running around the Queen, trying to force it. Unfortunately, the Marauders are actually in the front, forming a battle line. They meet in the front with the Marines behind, and very quickly they make quick work of the Zerg. He's got a couple Roaches left. He's got 2 Zerglings. It's not going to be enough. Now pressing the advantage. Here comes Zieth. He's going to attack. Is he going to hit it or no? 3 of the Roaches popping up. They're going to try and buy a little time. 1's going to kill. Now they're going to backtrack. He's got 3 more of the larvae at the old lair. They're going to pop it up. 2 more Overlords destroyed. He's not going to focus attention on the last one. Now Zerm's in trouble as far as the supply goes. He's not going to be able to produce another one. This is not looking well for him. He's not going to be able to make up the difference.
Absolutely not. Those Roaches aren't going to get produced quickly enough. He might chase him away there with a mass drone rush. The Zerg's focusing fire there on the Marauders. They know the Marauders are the danger there. 1 Marauder goes down, 2 going for the 3rd there, being chased off very effectively there. A comeback that I did not think I would see.
More Marines coming in for reinforcements, now deploying. This one's over. I mean, that's another 3 or 4 Marauders, another half dozen Marines. And here comes, they're going to come marching home here. He's got a bunch of Roaches. He's got maybe, let's see, how many does he have? 9? He's got to rally around the back part of his base. Not going to hack the lair. They're going to go into... They're actually burrowed at the moment. They're now attacking the lair. Lair down to half health and falling. Down to 1,000. Now they're into the Roach.
And there's the ambush.
They pop back up. Here comes the command center. Now scanning the zone. They're paying a heavy toll. Those Terrans are taking a beating. More Roaches deploying. And Zerm holding on by the skin of his teeth. Just gripping his nails. He's going to pop all those Roaches back in the ground. They're going to try and... regenerate. Now he pops back up. He's got the drones. He's going to put them in the front. Again, they're rushing, like you had pointed out. They're going after the Marauders first. They pose the real threat. The Marines will die very quickly. He's down to 1 Roach. He's got him surrounded by Marines. More Zerglings now deploying. He may actually be able to destroy this entire attack, but I can't imagine he's going to be able to fend off the reinforcements now streaming across the map.
Yeah, mass reinforcements at the back there, bunch of Marines, as well as 3 Marauders moving in from the old expansion, moving in there. This one is over, let's be entirely honest here. He's got a couple of Zerglings and buried Roaches. He's lost most of his drones. His Echo is way behind. Going after the hatchery there, they'll move in for the final defense, but I think we can safely say that this is GG. Very well played there by the Terran.
Is there going to be revealed? Yeah, A Marauder Marine push against the Zerg. Not a whole lot you can do about it at that point. You got to have mixed up other than just roaches. You can't just expect that to win every game. And I know that's kind of like the thing to do with the Zerg at the moment. But once he got behind, once you lost the expansion, once he had to start replacing humongous losses, he really couldn't go in there and actually start to... again, it's a war of economy. You can't start to outproduce. You can't go back there and try to replace the losses you take when you only have 1 gold mine as opposed to your opponent, which has got 3 barracks producing and 2 gold mines.
Yeah, there's no question about that. The M&M is an extremely effective early game strategy for the Terran, and while the Roach is an extremely effective unit in the beta at present, that does not mean it is an I win button, and you should not make the mistake of believing so.
Usually the good idea is to throw a bunch of Zerglings out in front, let them take the brunt of the attack while you stand off and pound away with your Roaches from behind.